Somehow, 2025 turned regular road cars into weapons that punch straight into supercar territory, without technically being hypercars. And today we're running through the machines that broke every expectation, every rule, and every speed limit written on paper. 10. 2025 BMW M5 G90, 190 miles per hour. And here's where things start getting wild, because the new M5 doesn't just update the formula, it bends it completely. The 2025 G90 steps in with a hybrid setup that isn't about saving fuel at all, it's about violence. A twin-turbo 4.4-liter S68 V8 paired with an integrated e-motor throws out 717 horsepower and 738 pound-feet, and somehow sends all that through an 8-speed M-Steptronic and a rear-biased xDrive that just wants to shove the car forward like it's offended by standing still. 3.0 seconds to 60, factory limited to less, until you tick the M-Driver's package and the car finally breathes at 190 miles per hour. The secret sauce is torque fill, electric shove covering every second the turbos spool, so the power never dips. Adaptive M dampers, rear steering, huge brakes, and a thermal system built to take punishment keep this 5,251-pound sedan freakishly calm. Inside, the dual 12.3-inch and 14.9-inch screens run iDrive, EV mode creeps for 27 miles, and the boost paddle turns highways into runways. Starting at $119,500, this is the executive missile, and yes, there is a manual outlier later in this list. 9-2025 Lamborghini Urus SE Hybrid, 194 miles per hour. And just when you think SUVs should calm down, Lamborghini reminds you they don't do calm. The Urus SE Hybrid steps in like an angry bull with a battery pack strapped to it. A twin-turbo 4.0-liter V8 and a high-output e-motor combined for 789 horsepower and 701 pound-feet, launching this 5,500-plus-pound monster to 60 in 3.4 seconds. What hits you first is the instant torque. No hesitation, no lag, just a clean electric punch that smashes through any doubt that a hybrid Lambo could still feel like a Lambo. The aero tweaks matter too. Redesigned diffusers, sharper matrix LEDs, active aero, all helping this thing stay planted when it reaches its claimed 194 miles per hour top speed. Inside, it's drama everywhere. Stitched leather, carbon accents, two big displays, and that signature fighter jet ignition toggle that makes you feel like you're arming something dangerous. The hybrid graphics, energy flow animations, and telemetry screens wrap it all together. Starting at $262,000, the SE doesn't just keep the Urus legacy alive, it evolves it. 8. 2025 Mercedes AMG GT 63 SE Performance, 196 miles per hour. Now here's where it gets even stranger, because Mercedes didn't borrow from Formula One. They practically transplanted it. The GT 63 SE Performance mixes a hand-built 4.0-liter bi-turbo V8 with a 150-kilowatt electric motor mounted on the rear axle. Together, they unleash a ridiculous 831 horsepower and 1,032 pound-feet. That rear e-motor even has its own two-speed gearbox, and when it shifts into second at highway speeds, you genuinely feel the car dig in and pull harder. 0 to 60, 2.8 seconds. And the secret behind all of it is the tiny 6.1 kilowatt hours, 400-volt AMG battery built for fast discharge, and equally brutal regen, designed for laps, not range. Carbon ceramics, rear axle steering, and AMG's active ride control keep this big four-door glued when the speeds start climbing. Inside, the MBUX performance pages show real-time power flow and boost levels, turning every drive into a data stream. And despite everything, it still creeps silently on EV mode. Price lands around $200,500 to $220,000 depending on spec. 7. 2025 Ford Mustang GTD, 202 miles per hour. And here's where the story takes a sharp turn, because the GTD isn't just another Mustang. It feels like Ford snuck a GT3 race car onto public roads. The heart of it all is the supercharged 5.2-liter Predator V8, pushing 815 horsepower and 664 pound-feet, fed by a dry sump system so the engine stays perfectly oiled even when the car is being thrown through corners like a track weapon. The power gets shoved through an 8-speed dual-clutch rear transaxle connected by a carbon fiber drive shaft that helps dial in that sweet 50-50 weight distribution. And then the aero hits you. A massive active rear wing, front flaps, and airflow tricks borrowed straight from motorsport. Underneath the Multimatic DSSV spool valve suspension, the same tech used in race cars keeps the chassis planted. Carbon body panels, carbon ceramic brakes, everything screams purpose-built speed. Starting north of $300,000, the GTD isn't trying to be a cool Mustang. It's trying to embarrass European supercars on their home tracks. And honestly, it might. 6. 2023 Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat Red-Eye Jailbreak, 203 miles per hour. Just when you think the muscle car era is fading out quietly, Dodge decided to end it with fireworks. The Charger Hellcat. Red-Eye Jailbreak is the last gasp Hemi sedan, and Dodge treated its farewell concert with the volume at max. Under the hood sits the supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi V8, ripping out 807 horsepower and 707 pound-feet, all funneled through an 8-speed torque flight that shifts like it's trying to outrun its own shadow. When it launched, it claimed the title of fastest production sedan on Earth, hitting 203 miles per hour and doing it with the attitude of a street fighter. The wide-body stance hides Brembo 6-piston brakes, while launch control and line lock turn empty roads into makeshift drag strips. And then you have the jailbreak program. Dodge basically said, go wild, letting owners mix stripes, wheels, colors, and trims in combinations that probably shouldn't work, but somehow do. MSRP hovered near $91,000, but markups made it instant collector gold. A final roar before the lights go out. 5. 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat Red-Eye, 203 miles per hour. And this is where nostalgia smashes straight into brute force. The Challenger. Hellcat Red-Eye carries the same legendary 6.2-liter Hemi, but here it's paired with a monstrous 2.7-liter supercharger, pushing 797 horsepower and 707 pound-feet. Even with its old-school bulk, this thing hits 203 miles per hour and runs 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, numbers that used to belong only to European exotics. What makes the Challenger special is that Dodge never tried to modernize its soul. It still drives like a classic muscle bruiser, just with jet engine power. The wide-body setup and 305 series tires give it a fighting chance to put the power down, and drag features like line lock and launch control feel like party tricks for anyone who grew up loving quarter-mile runs. Inside, it's half throwback, half tech playground. Analog vibes meet the modern Uconnect performance pages, where you can track boost, temps, G-forces, everything. With an MSRP around $83,000, it instantly became collectible. A final salute to everything muscle cars once were. 4. 2025 Cadillac CT5V Blackwing, 205 miles per hour. And here's the twist nobody expected, because while every brand is sprinting toward electric futures, Cadillac quietly built a love letter to purists. The CT5V Blackwing carries a supercharged 6.2-liter LT4 V8 pumping out 668 horsepower and 659 pound-feet. And it does something almost no fast sedan does anymore. It ships with a 6-speed manual, 3 pedals, in 2025. It's the last of its kind. If you need max performance, the 10-speed auto is waiting, and whichever transmission you choose, the Blackwing slams to 60 in 3.4 seconds and storms all the way to a verified 205 miles per hour. Magnetic Ride Control 4.0 reads the road 1,000 times a second. Carbon ceramic brakes eat speed like candy. And Nürburgring development laps under 740 prove this isn't just a muscle sedan, it's a world-class weapon. Inside, it's luxury with menace. AKG audio, carbon trim, sculpted seats. Starting at $94,890, the Blackwing feels like Detroit's final middle finger to Germany's Autobahn royalty. 3. 2024 Nissan GT-R Nismo, 205 miles per hour. And here's the part that stings a little, because this is Godzilla's final evolution. The 2024 GT-R Nismo is the last, sharpest, angriest form of a legend that ruled tuner culture for decades. Under the hood, the hand-built 3.8-liter twin-turbo V6 still hits with 600 horsepower and 481 pound-feet, fed through a 6-speed dual clutch and an AWD system that feels like it can read your thoughts. 0 to 60 drops under 3 seconds, and in independent high-speed runs, the Nismo pushes straight into 205 miles per hour. But the real magic is the engineering obsession. Swan neck rear wing, fender vents, carbon ceramic brakes, a reinforced shell, and aero that glues the car to the tarmac when speeds get ridiculous. Inside, the theme is pure track focus. Bucket seats wrapped in Alcantara, red accents, and the iconic Nismo stripe at the top of the wheel. At $222,985, it's a supercar in everything except the badge. And maybe that's what makes it special. 2. 2025 Porsche 911 Turbo S, 205 miles per hour. And then you reach the car that makes speed feel effortless. The 2025 Porsche 911 Turbo S plays in a league of its own. A 3.7-liter twin, turbo flat 6 pours out 640 horsepower, sent through an all-wheel drive system and Porsche's lightning-fast 8-speed PDK. Hit launch control and the car practically teleports, 2.6 seconds to 60, and on the right day with the right road, some testers have watched it dip into the mid-2.5 seconds. At full stretch, it hits its verified 205 miles per hour, and somehow it still feels composed, balanced, predictable. That's where rear axle steering, PASM, and adaptive aero quietly work in the background. Carbon ceramic brakes are optional, though most owners swear they're mandatory once you push this thing hard. Inside, it's peak Porsche. Luxury meeting precision, 18-way seats, crisp displays, materials that feel engineered rather than decorated. Starting at $230,400, the Turbo S is the definition of controlled violence. 1-2025 Chevrolet Corvette ZR 1, 233 miles per hour. And this is the moment everything else on the list steps aside. The 2025 Corvette ZR1 isn't just fast. It feels like Chevy built a land-based missile and added license plates as an afterthought. The heart of it is that brutal 5.5-liter twin-turbo flat-plane crank LT7, pushing out 1,064 horsepower and 828 pound-feet, making it the most powerful production V8 ever built in America. GM President Mark Reuss personally verified its top speed, a staggering 233 miles per hour, the kind of number that usually belongs to hypercars tripling its price. The aero is equal to 1,200 pounds of downforce to keep it planted, with adaptive suspension and massive carbon ceramic brakes ready when the world starts moving too fast. 0 to 60 hits around 2.3 seconds, and the quarter-mile drops into the 9.6-second range with the ZTK package. Inside, it still feels like a Corvette, focused, familiar, and made for drivers. Starting around $178,000 to $183,000, it's the undisputed king of this entire list. No arguments needed. And there you have it, the machines that proved you don't need a hypercar badge to break physics. So which one would you take the keys to first? Drop your pick in the comments. And if this ride blew your mind, hit like and subscribe, because what's coming next is even crazier.